4 stupid mistakes most seniors make after 65 that lead to misery and how to avoid them. If you're over 65 and wondering why retirement feels lonelier and more stressful than you imagined, you're not alone. Thousands of seniors unknowingly sabotage their golden years by making 4 critical mistakes that drain their savings, destroy relationships, and steal their peace of mind. The worst part? Most don't realize it until it's too late. Today, I'm revealing the 4 devastating mistakes that turn retirement dreams into daily regrets. First, the financial trap that empties bank accounts faster than medical bills. Second, the social blunder that pushes away the people who care most. Third, the health habit disguised as self-care that actually accelerates aging. And fourth, the mindset shift that separates thriving seniors from those who merely survive. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to avoid each pitfall and reclaim the joyful retirement you deserve. Mistake 1. Becoming an ATM for adult children and grandchildren. The first mistake that destroys financial security after 65 is saying yes to every request for money from family members. Whether it's covering a grandchild's tuition, bailing out an adult son from debt, or funding a daughter's business venture, too many seniors drain their retirement savings trying to rescue family members who should be solving their own problems. This pattern stems from decades of being the provider and protector. When you've spent 40 years taking care of your children, turning off that instinct feels like abandoning your parental duty. There's also guilt at play. Many seniors feel they didn't give enough during their working years, so retirement becomes a chance to make up for lost time. Social pressure intensifies the problem when adult children frame requests as emergencies or suggest that refusing help means you don't love them. The fear of being cut off from grandchildren becomes emotional blackmail that's hard to resist. Consider what happens when you liquidate your retirement account to pay for your son's failed restaurant. That $50,000 wasn't just money, it was your security buffer for the next decade. When your own medical emergency arrives 2 years later, you're forced to rely on the same children who drained your resources. Now you've become their burden instead of their safety net. The resentment builds on both sides. Your children feel guilty, but also entitled, while you feel used but too proud to admit the mistake. Marriages among seniors crack under this financial strain when one spouse watches the other give away their shared future. The numbers are stark. Seniors who regularly bail out adult children are 3 times more likely to run out of money before age 80 and twice as likely to depend on government assistance in their final years. Set ironclad financial boundaries immediately. Calculate your absolute needs for the next 30 years, including healthcare inflation and emergency funds. Everything beyond that baseline is your discretionary zone, and even then, gifts should never exceed 5% of your annual income. Learn to say no without lengthy explanations. "I love you, but my retirement funds aren't available for that," is a complete sentence. Offer wisdom instead of cash. Help your adult children create budgets, connect them with financial advisors, or teach them skills, but stop solving problems that money can't fix anyway. If you genuinely want to help financially, make it a one-time gift with clear documentation, never a loan that won't be repaid. For larger amounts, consult a financial advisor who can show your children exactly how their request impacts your long-term security. Sometimes, hearing it from a third party breaks through the denial. Most importantly, redirect that generosity toward experiences with family rather than bailouts. A vacation together creates memories. A check creates dependency. Mistake. Number 2. Isolating yourself from social connections. The second mistake that destroys quality of life after 65 is withdrawing from friendships, community activities, and social engagement. Many retirees gradually become hermits, convincing themselves they're simply enjoying peace and quiet, when they're actually building a prison of loneliness that damages both mental and physical health. You decline invitations more often than you accept them, always finding excuses about being tired or busy with nothing specific. Your phone rarely rings because you've stopped initiating contact with friends, and when people do reach out, you keep conversations brief. You've abandoned hobbies that once brought you into contact with others, preferring solitary activities like endless television watching. Your weekly routine involves minimal human interaction beyond transactional exchanges at stores. You feel relief rather than disappointment when plans get cancelled. You've stopped dressing up or caring about your appearance because nobody sees you anyway. Most telling, you can't remember the last time you laughed with someone in person or had a conversation that lasted more than 10 minutes. Social isolation doesn't just feel bad, it kills. Research shows that chronic loneliness increases mortality risk by 26%, equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes daily. Your cognitive function deteriorates faster without regular, stimulating conversations. Memory problems accelerate when you're not challenged to recall names, stories, and shared experiences. Depression creeps in silently, masquerading as contentment until you realize you've lost interest in everything that once mattered. Your immune system weakens, making you more susceptible to infections and slower to recover from illness. The risk of dementia doubles compared to socially active seniors. Physical decline accelerates because you lack motivation to maintain your appearance, exercise, or even leave the house. Family members grow distant, not from lack of love, but from exhaustion at trying to penetrate your walls. Eventually, emergencies go unnoticed because nobody checks on you regularly, leading to preventable hospitalizations or worse. Commit to one social activity per week, non-negotiable. Join a senior centre, volunteer at a library, attend religious services, or participate in community classes. The specific activity matters less than consistent exposure to other humans. Reconnect with 3 people from your past this month. Call old colleagues, childhood friends, or distant relatives you've lost touch with. Most people appreciate the gesture more than you expect. Accept the next invitation you receive, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Schedule regular video calls with family members who live far away, treating them as seriously as doctor appointments. Get a pet if you're able, as they provide companionship and force you to maintain routines and interact with other pet owners. Take a class in something you've always wanted to learn, surrounding yourself with fellow beginners who share your curiosity. Say yes to helping others, whether it's mentoring younger people or assisting neighbours, because purpose combats isolation. Most crucially, recognize that staying connected requires effort and sometimes discomfort. But the alternative of slow deterioration in solitude is far worse. Mistake. Number 3. Neglecting physical activity. Because you've earned your rest. The third mistake that accelerates aging and disability after 65 is adopting a sedentary lifestyle under the belief that retirement means you've earned the right to stop moving. Countless seniors trade their active years for recliners and remote controls, watching their bodies deteriorate while convincing themselves they're simply relaxing after decades of hard work. Society promotes a dangerous narrative that retirement equals rest, as if your body is a machine that deserves to be parked after years of service. Many seniors believe their aching joints and reduced stamina are inevitable parts of aging that exercise can't improve. There's a pervasive myth that physical activity is risky for older adults, that pushing yourself might trigger heart attacks or break fragile bones. Some think they've stayed active enough through household chores like cooking and light cleaning, not realizing these activities barely elevate heart rate or build strength. Others convince themselves they'll start exercising once they feel better, not understanding that inactivity is precisely why they feel terrible. The cultural imagery of grandparents as sedentary figures in rocking chairs reinforces the idea that slowing down is not just acceptable, but expected. Insurance companies and doctors rarely challenge this assumption aggressively enough, so seniors interpret silence as permission to remain inactive. Within 6 months of stopping regular movement, your muscle mass begins vanishing at an alarming rate. What took years to build disappears in weeks, leaving you struggling with tasks that were once effortless. Your balance deteriorates, turning simple activities like reaching for high shelves or navigating stairs into fall risks that can end your independence permanently. Bone density plummets, making fractures from minor bumps a real threat. Your cardiovascular system weakens, leaving you winded from walking to the mailbox. Chronic conditions like diabetes, arthritis, and high blood pressure worsen dramatically without exercise to manage inflammation and regulate bodily systems. Mental sharpness fades because physical activity drives blood flow to the brain, and without it, cognitive decline accelerates. You become trapped in a vicious cycle where weakness makes movement harder, so you move less, becoming weaker still. The medications pile up as doctors treat symptoms that exercise could prevent. Your world physically shrinks as you avoid activities that require stamina, eventually becoming homebound not from illness but from deconditioning. Studies show sedentary seniors lose independence 7 years earlier than active peers and spend twice as long in nursing facilities before death. Start exactly where you are, not where you wish you were. If you can only walk for 5 minutes, that's your starting line. Commit to moving intentionally every single day, even if it's just marching in place during commercial breaks. Incorporate strength training twice weekly using resistance bands, light weights, or your own body weight through chair exercises. Focus on functional movements that protect independence. Practice standing from chairs without using arms. Work on balance by standing on one foot, and strengthen your core to prevent falls. Find activities you genuinely enjoy, rather than forcing yourself into gyms you hate. Dancing, gardening, swimming, or Tai Chi all count as legitimate exercise. Exercise with others whenever possible, joining walking groups or senior fitness classes where social accountability keeps you consistent. Track your progress to stay motivated, celebrating small victories like climbing stairs without breathlessness or playing on the floor with grandchildren. Treat physical activity as non-negotiable medication, because that's exactly what it is for seniors. Your body didn't earn rest through aging. It earned the right to remain capable, and that requires consistent movement until your final days. Mistake. Number 4, living in the past instead of creating new purpose. The fourth mistake that guarantees misery after 65 is dwelling endlessly on former achievements, lost opportunities, and the good old days while refusing to build a meaningful present. Too many seniors become prisoners of nostalgia, measuring their current worth against decades-old accomplishments and viewing each remaining day as a countdown to irrelevance rather than an opportunity for contribution. This mistake is the most destructive because it poisons every other aspect of retirement simultaneously. While financial errors can be corrected and physical decline can be slowed, a backward-facing mindset creates a psychological quicksand that pulls you deeper into despair with each passing year. When you define yourself entirely by who you were rather than who you're becoming, you've essentially declared your life over while your heart still beats. This mentality fuels the other three mistakes. You stop moving because your athletic prime is gone, you isolate because nobody cares about your old stories, and you give away money trying to relive parenting glory. The danger multiplies because our culture enables this thinking, treating seniors as historical artifacts rather than evolving individuals. Unlike a health crisis that triggers immediate intervention, this slow surrender of purpose goes unnoticed until you've lost years to regret and bitterness. It robs you of joy in the present, makes you insufferable to be around, and ensures your final chapter is defined by what you've lost rather than what you still offer. Consider Samuel, a 68-year-old retired high school principal who spent his first 3 years of retirement boring everyone with stories about his glory days running the school. Every conversation circled back to students he'd mentored 20 years ago or policies he'd implemented. His wife dreaded social gatherings because Samuel couldn't discuss anything happening now, only what happened then. His adult children stopped calling as frequently because every conversation became a lecture about how much harder work was in his generation. Then Samuel's former school invited him to mentor new principals through a district program. Instead of reliving past victories, he began creating new ones by helping others succeed. He started learning modern education technology to stay relevant. Within a year, Samuel transformed from a bitter man clinging to faded glory into someone energized by current contributions. His relationships improved because he had fresh experiences to share. His health improved because purpose gave him reasons to stay sharp and active. The same person who'd been insufferable at dinner parties became someone people sought out for wisdom about navigating change. Identify one skill or interest you've always wanted to develop but never prioritized during your working years. Commit to learning it now, whether that's painting, woodworking, a foreign language, or coding. Shift from consuming content to creating it by writing memoirs for your family, starting a blog about your current experiences, or teaching classes in your area of expertise. Volunteer for causes that address today's problems, not yesterday's issues, immersing yourself in contemporary challenges where your perspective adds value. Mentor someone in a different generation, sharing wisdom while remaining genuinely curious about their world. Set concrete goals for the next 5 years that have nothing to do with past accomplishments. Catch yourself when conversations drift toward nostalgia and deliberately redirect to present interests or future plans. Surround yourself with people of various ages who challenge you to stay engaged with current events and evolving ideas. Most importantly, accept that your legacy isn't finished until you stop breathing, and every day offers a chance to add new chapters worth remembering. These 4 mistakes, draining your finances for family, withdrawing from connection, abandoning movement, and living in the past, share one common thread. They all stem from giving up on yourself. Your best years aren't behind you unless you decide they are. Starting today, protect your resources, nurture relationships, move your body, and build new purpose. Retirement isn't the end of your story. It's simply a new chapter, waiting for you to write it with intention and courage. If this video opened your eyes to mistakes you've been making or helped you protect someone you love, hit that like button right now. Share this with any senior who needs to hear these truths today. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're dedicated to helping you thrive after 65, not just survive. Your golden years deserve to shine, and we're here to make sure they do. Which mistake resonated most with you? Drop a comment below. Your story might inspire someone else.